Hello, I'm Stalnaker with Hub Culture, and we're at the World Climate Summit in Durban, South Africa, against the backdrop of COP17, the UN Summit on Climate Change. Beatriz Perez is the Chief Sustainability Officer of Coca-Cola, and she joins me here to talk about what Coke is doing in this sector, why you guys are in Durban, and where the big issues and what the big picture is.
Sure. Well, thank you. Pleasure to talk to you, Stan. You know, we're excited to be here and honored to be a part of this movement. And for us, it's critical. It's part of our broader sustainability platform. We focus on 4 key issues: water, packaging, climate, as well as the broader notion around community. And so they're all connected. If you think about water and what's happening with climate, as the Earth continues to heat up, the water cycle is what actually regulates, right, the weather changes we're all facing, and that's alive and well. And so for us, water is also our main ingredient, and we want to ensure that we're able to protect the main ingredient, not just for ourselves, but also for the community. So we've set a goal to be
these
water.
Are all linked together.
All linked together. So set a goal to become water neutral. In addition to being water neutral, also working with and that's within our manufacturing, working with communities to help protect their watersheds, to do rainforest water collection, and to also create jobs through some of the water initiatives that we have in place.
So for people who don't necessarily know what water neutral means, carbon neutral has become kind of a term, and it's great to see that Coke taking the lead on this idea of water neutrality, and hopefully other businesses can maybe start to explore that. But first, what does water neutral actually mean? It means that your net
So what it means, it's actually very simple. It's actually for every drop of water we use, we put a drop of water back.
Okay.
And that's a basic. And talking about, you know, obviously carbon, we also have a goal that says grow our business and not the carbon. And so what we've done is, last year actually our CEO in Cancun set a very publicly stated goal around moving all of our refrigerators to HFC free. And why is that important? It's because if you think about where he did that, he actually did it not just here in Cancun, but also the Consumer Goods Forum, which was a movement to get the other manufacturers and retailers to drive the change.
This has become a really big movement now. The Consumer Goods Forum is really one of the leading, especially in America, drivers of kind of innovation in this sector, right? In terms of making changes. And
partnering together, driving the change together. And you know, today we have over 400,000 HFC-free coolers already in the marketplace, and we're continuing to grow that number. And it's not just us. Now that the technology has been created, it's available to everybody in the industry. So we might have been the first to claim that initiative, partnering with others, but now it's available for everyone to participate. And that's truly what we want to do. We want to be the leader, but we want others to come along, because that's I think the most important thing that business can do is bring others into the mix and get that goal to be set.
And speaking of others in the mix, let's talk about the polar bears for a second.
Yes.
So, you know, Coke has had a long history tied to the polar bear. Every Christmas,
1922.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
So every Christmas you see the polar bear on the can in the great commercials that, you know, I since I was a kid, I have kind of associated these things, and always the most wonderful seasonal things. But obviously the polar bear is in trouble, and it sounds like Coke is doing some things to actually try and, not just on the marketing side, but really getting in there and trying to do some stuff around the Arctic. And tell us what you're doing there.
And so that's the great thing about a brand like Coca-Cola, is we can actually be the voice or the magnifying glass to raise awareness around a core issue. And it's done in partnership with the WWF. So we said we have the marketing commercials, the point of sale, the can bodies, billions, not millions, billions of impressions every single day in the marketplace, that simply by raising awareness of the climate issues that exist through the polar bear messaging, we can actually bring others, consumers, to join the journey for change. So
what is the activity? What are you guys doing specifically with WWF?
Specifically, what we're doing is we're protecting the Arctic Refuge up in the northern hemisphere. So if you go much further north than Churchill, now I went to Churchill, but the part that's actually being protected is much further north.
So is it still land?
So it's still land.
The very top is all water, of course.
Correct.
Ice.
Correct. It's still land. It's not ice, and it's protecting that environment for those polar bears, and at the same time creating awareness and actually getting consumers to participate. We're donating $2 million towards this initiative. We're actually matching what consumers give too. And so we're saying,
so if a consumer gives, Coke gives.
Yes, and we've made it very simple. Give, donate. It's only $1, and it's a very simple way to participate, to get the consumer to be aware and then also take action. And for us, that's the part we want to do, is we want to drive people to take actions. And so this is the first time we've ever done something with the scale that it's required to create this type of change. Yeah. And we're going to continue to expand and grow it year over year.
So how do people get involved? They just look at a Coke can?
So look at a Coke can, they text in, so they can text in to, you know, and oh my goodness, I can't even remember the name, but just go to the CocaCola.com website, and you could go right there. You could go to a website to donate. You could do it on your mobile device. Very simple.
So it's completely integrated project.
Yes,
so
it is.
That's great. And I assume, is this a long-term project for Coke? I mean, the polar bears have been around since, with you guys,
we want to protect their home.
Long time,
yes,
right? So
absolutely.
We need them into 21, 22.
Yes, no, we're committed to continue to drive this. We've been doing work around the Arctic home and the Refuge for a while. Now we're just creating more light on it. So it's not something, it's not just a one-year problem.
Thing. This is ongoing, just ramping it up.
Right.
So before we wrap up, just tell me what else is happening with Coke in terms of the sustainability and kind of environmental front. You talked about these 4 sectors.
Yes.
You guys are doing a huge amount on the water sector. You're doing a lot to build communities.
So even in our packaging, so you might have seen on, you know, from Dasani in the United States to Valkyrie right here in Durban, you'll see 30% is made out of plant. And so why is that important? Well, because that actually, if you look at 5 billion plant bottles in the marketplace by this year alone, that's taken 60,000 metric tons of carbon out of the environment.
Not to mention plastic. I mean, the thing about plastic, and I think a lot of people are really concerned about the plastic issue, whether it's, you know, the issues of plastic in the oceans all the way through to just land use. You know, I think a lot of people want to see green plastic. I mean, a lot of people are really, and I know it's hard because it's hard to make and it's expensive to make and all these things play in. Do you see a future for that? Do you see a point in the future where Coke can lead towards
well, the good news is so PET is one of the most recyclable plastics that exist, and we shifted to that across all of our packaging already. Now we're taking it a step further and saying now we would like to take that into
when it comes to the product.
So and now we're taking it a step further, and it's not just what the package is made out of. So moving to plant, we'd like to get to 100% plant over time, but we're a couple years away with technology and, you know, the innovation.
But I mean and it's huge scale. I mean, the fact that you guys are already doing that much plant, there was no plant 5 years ago.
No. And then the other piece that you talked about is how do you then recover and reuse, whether that's bottle to bottle or bottle to a t-shirt, the stuff that's also left over. And so it's important for us to put those mechanisms in place, and we already do. And so if you look at programs that we have around the world, we have a great program in Brazil working with the colectivos to take actually women-owned businesses. We help them recover the materials, reuse it, and create licensed merchandise businesses that we then sell in our catalogs.
Right,
so it also creates jobs.
So that's more cradle to cradle.
It is cradle to cradle. It's that virtuous cycle of change, and it's truly empowering communities to thrive on their own. So not just through the tools and tactics that we provide, but also for themselves. And that's been something that's been really important to us, is to make sure those communities are better for those programs, and that we help to drive the change globally.
Got it. So finally, what's Coke's wish out of Durban?
Well, our wish out of Durban is that everyone works together, whether that's business, civil society, NGOs, governments, to drive the change and to have a collective voice and to inspire and engage others. So we know not everyone is on the same page, and it takes a lot of dialogue, a lot of discussion. We just hope coming out of Durban that people don't give up. This is a critical issue that we all have to work together on, and that we are able to inspire others through the movements here taking place in Durban.
Got it. Okay, great.
Thank
Beatriz,
you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Beatriz Perez, Chief Sustainability Officer at Coca-Cola, and once again, Stan Stalnaker from Hub Culture at the World Climate Summit. Thanks so much, Beatriz.
Thank you. Thanks again.
Thanks so
Take
much.
care.
Great.